Forum. My name is Jude Joman AKG. Today on Citizens Forum, we'll be having a conversation around Nigeria. The first one is to stand in solidarity with the people of Plateau State. Now, all the while, I've been in contact with Honorable Sir John Akans. He's the special advisor to Governor Muttwang on inter-party relations. And of course, he's the immediate past PDP publicity secretary, Plateau State. We agreed that he would be here on Citizens Forum to talk about the killings in Plateau State, which has become a recurring decimal. That is a conversation I wouldn't want to have alone. But then we got in touch. We spoke last night. He called me up this morning. But then just 30 minutes to this program, I got a call from one of his aides who told me of a developing story I don't want to talk about right now that makes him unavailable. But then we are going to reschedule that conversation. I think it is important we talk about Plateau State because Plateau State has become the face of what exactly is wrong with Nigeria. You know, from Yelwa to Jos, from Barkinladi to Bokos, continuously we've seen a systematic depletion of a people. But then how is it possible that we live in a country with a commander-in-chief? How is it that we live in a country with a military? And it is possible that people will move into a community not once, not twice. Since 2011, the story has been almost same. They come into the community, they maim, they kill, they rape, they steal, they do whatever pleases them. Sometimes staying in these communities for as much as 3, 4, 5 days. The perpetrators still walking free. There are so many dimensions to talk about what is going on in Plateau. It's not enough for us to just talk about Bokos like Bokos happened yesterday. It's been decades we've seen this happening in Plateau State. But then how is it possible that this continues to go on? After every killing, we see the same thing happen. The commander-in-chief, whoever the commander-in-chief is, yesterday it was Muhammadu Buhari, today it is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And so they give marching orders to the military. They vowed that perpetrators will be brought to book. The military, there is a curfew announced by the governor. And then the military move into the communities. The same thing happens. It's difficult for you to travel through these places because of military searches. But then that does not stop the next bloody attack. We are also very much aware that many of these communities are not just sacked, but those who sacked members of these communities are right there. They are have renamed many of these communities and are actually living there. And so that brings us to the very question. What are the socio-economic factors that lead to this? What are the ethnic? What are the religious tensions that perpetuate this kind of violence? And is it enough for us to say never again? When since 2011, we have failed to bring anyone, just about anyone, to book. So these were the questions that he was supposed to answer for us today. But being that he is not here in the studios, I'm not going to dive into all of that in depth. But then during the callback section, we can talk about it. But I'm going to refix this appointment with him so he can tell us what's the history to all of this. What makes it continue? Are we going to likely see a lasting solution to this? Why is it same thing during the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari? When he was president, people had an easy conclusion to what the problem was. They said it was the kinsmen of the former president, and because he is Fulani, he just could not rein his brothers and sisters, and so he allowed them run wild. Today, the story has changed, but then it is still same old pattern. Today on Citizens Forum, of course, we stand in solidarity with the people of Plateau State. Injury to one is injury to all. Like I said, Plateau State is just the face. This is not any different from what goes on in different communities across Nigeria, whether it is in Enugu State, or in Anambra State, or in Imo State, or in Ebonyi State. The story is almost same, that once in a while we know of communities that complain about people coming to their communities, sacking people, killing people, holding them ransom. It's almost same thing. Not any different from what goes on in Katsina, in Zarfana, in Borno, in Southern Kaduna, and the list goes on. Once again, we stand in solidarity with the people of Plateau State. And next, we'll be talking about Anambra State. Of course, last week we took a break from discussing politics to talk about what has to deal with core governance. When the security of life and property is at stake, no discussion can be, weightier than that. And so we stood with the people of Uromi and had that conversation, went to Kano, got someone who talked about it. But then it wasn't as if we were unaware that last week the big parties in Anambra State were squaring it out in the field. And so the result is out. As we count down to the November 2025 election in Anambra State, we've seen the big parties conduct their party primaries and select their flag bearers for that election. Of course, ABGA, there was no surprise from ABGA. ABGA gave us, you don't change a winning team, do you? ABGA has a governor, and so it was only Nigerian that, in fact, it's only right, it's only proper. It happens all over the world that the governor will have the first right of refusal, and so Professor Chukwuma Soludo won the ABGA primaries. ABGA chieftains would like to think differently, but we were not surprised. I don't even know who his rival was. If you know, maybe during the callback section, you can call me and tell me who the strong contenders were in that primaries. But then, a bit as it may for ABGA, another party that really surprised me, was the PDP. PDP in Anambra State has always been known for what it has always been known for, especially when it comes to party primaries. I work in the media, and I remember the era of even being confused as somebody who presents a political program, who the flag bearer of the PDP is in an election, because actively you will have 5, sometimes 3, sometimes 2 adverts, jingles running on every radio station in Anambra State telling you to vote for PDP, but then each time telling you a different name. So it was quite a surprise that Jude Ezenwafo was the sole aspirant on the platform of the PDP. Could it be the 40 million naira? Well, this is Anambra State. I don't think it could have been the 40 million naira that stopped that. So does this mean it could only mean two things, and two things alone, from where I stand? From where some people stand, they could have more information, and those informations could be superior to mine. But usually in politics, it could only mean in Nigerian politics, the normal, this could be abnormal, I don't know. But the normal in Nigerian politics, it could mean only two things. The first one it could mean is that the PDP has learnt from experience and has put its house in order and is under such a strong and focused and hardworking, dedicated leadership that has able to, rein all of its members, and so for once present a united platform. It could mean that the coming weeks and months will let me know if I'm right or wrong. It could then mean the second thing, and it could also mean, and I'm not saying this is what it means, I'm saying usually when this happens in a party that has been having such, squabbles to put its foot forward, it could then mean that, PDP is not a very viable platform in Anambra State anymore, and so not so many people would want to come in vie under that party. I don't know which one it means. It could mean more of these things. I still repeat myself. Well, so that is that for the PDP. Well, if there was one party that really surprised so many watchers, it was the APC. First, APC became the party just before the primaries. We might take more time some other day, call in people who know better to come analyze what really happened. APC had so many big names contest on its platform. We saw Valentine Ozigbo, for instance, decamp from the Labour Party into the APC. What was responsible for that? Was it something that they all knew? Or was it that they were promised the ticket individually by different people or same people? You know, in politics, you think about all of these things, especially when you don't know exactly what happened. We also saw Professor Obiora Okonkwo decamp into the APC, and he was one of the top contenders. Now, when you have such big names in a party, it could also mean that the APC in Anambra State is, should I call it revived? Should I call it the new improved? There was just an influx of heavyweights into the APC. But then, surprise, some of these names were disappointed. Professor Obiora Okonkwo, for instance, we saw him withdraw from the primaries. We also saw Paul Chukwuma. Paul Chukwuma, before these primaries, had been all over the place. Been one of the major names who will hear after the death of Senator Ifeanyi Ubah on the platform of the APC. He also expressed disappointment. Will he go to court? How will all of this end up? Blah, blah, blah. But then he also withdrew from the race, citing irregularity. Valentine Ozigbo, don't forget, also cited the same thing. But the winner of that election, Nicholas Ukachukwu, who emerged the APC flag bearer, as we will say in Nigeria, the margin was unbelievable. 1,455 to defeat his closest rival, Valentine, who had just 67 votes. That really says something here. What does this say about the APC? But then when you talk to close watchers of Anambra State's political space, they will seem to agree that the APC is bent on taking Anambra State. Taking Anambra State will be a great achievement for the APC. It will mean the APC has a stronghold finally in the southeast. I mean, with Ebonyi State safely in the hands of the APC, Imo State safely in the hands of the APC, Anambra State definitely will be a big boost to the APC if they can win the state. And so to have all of these vibrant sons of the state contest on the platform of the APC, what does that tell us? But then to also have them just on the primary day express so much dissatisfaction with the process, what could that also mean for the APC? I mean, clearly politicians being who they are, these gentlemen will be approached. There's no doubt about that. I mean, no political party that wants to win the election in 2025, that wants to win the Anambra State November elections, would not want Valentine and Professor Obiora Okonkwo, a very powerful force, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. A very powerful force. Politicians have that. You know, you tell them somebody is a powerful force, they deny it, but then just wait until that person decamps and joins their party, and then you see what they say about that person. You know, they knew that all along. So, will the APC do everything within its powers? However they do it, I don't know how politicians do it, but will they do everything within their powers? You know, have that room discussion, try to pacify these guys who lost the primaries, to ensure that they don't, two things, either leave the party or become nonchalant. But then worst of all, work against their party or work for another candidate. The party in power, the ABGA. With ABGA also, we saw the former governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, do that when he noticed aggrieved candidates in other political party primaries? You recall the era of the Stella Oduas and Ifanyoba. Well, we can talk about all of that, but this is what politicians do. When people are aggrieved in their party, the incumbent always have the war chest, the promises, different promises an incumbent governor could make. Sometimes it's a senatorial post. We've seen these things play time and time again. Just don't want to jump into conclusions because nobody's sure what will happen. But that is it for the APC. Another party is the Labour Party. The Labour Party, it seems as though what happens at the federal level is also seeping into Anambra State. Because we saw, even though the former MD of the National Inland Waterways Authority, Chief George Mohalo, emerged the candidate of the Labour Party in that election. Of course, he pulled a 573 votes to defeat John Wosu, who I interviewed once on Citizens Forum. He scored just 19, but then some reports came that he, what's it called now? That he, what's it called now? But that he refused to accept the results of that election. Well, that is it for the Labour Party. Let's not also forget, at the national level, the Labour Party is also having this kind of a squabble. 2 days later, was it 3 days later, there was also talks about another faction of the Labour Party in Anambra State meeting and electing, appointing someone else as their flag bearer. How will the courts do that, especially when we all know that INEC witnessed the Labour Party, observed the Labour Party primaries in Anambra State? Today on Citizens Forum, we'll be having a conversation around these two broad themes, especially about the just concluded party primaries leading to Anambra State 2025 elections, November 2025 elections. Let's talk about the process. Let's talk about how the party is squared up. Let's talk about the candidates. Let's talk about the chances of not just these political parties, but also the different candidates. Does this mean, like ABGA has been trying to say after these primaries, that the governor has no, in fact, that the governor has no competition in these elections? Because looking at all of those who emerged and their names and their weight, their street credibility, that it just shows that the governor should not even campaign. He shouldn't waste his money on campaign. That is going to be an easy ride. Is that going to be the case? Let's talk about all of this. Some people also had concerns about this party primaries. They did talk about the delegate system, that once again, it really revealed the underbelly of the debt in our politics. They talked about the corruption in the system, the delegates, money for votes, delegate system. How can we forget 2023? It was all over the place. They talked about that. People have also raised concern about the cost of these forms. What does this mean for a state, for a country that struggles with corruption and is really desperate to have good men and women move into politics and salvage the system? The amount it takes not just to purchase the party form, but how we continue making it expensive to campaign in Nigeria. What does that portend? Let's have all of this conversation on Citizens Forum. The number to call remains 080-631-30020, and that is 080-631-30020. Or you call into 081-574-66270. 081-574-66270. All right. Once again, like I said, we are standing in solidarity with the people of Plateau State today. Today, it is Bokos to be specific, but we stand not just in solidarity with the people of Plateau State, but with every Nigerian community today that is witnessing an unbelievable level of bloodshed, and it seems as though they are all alone, even though it's a country with a complete military apparatus, a commander-in-chief. It's unthinkable this still goes on. And you can call into 081 574 66270. Our Citizens Forum with Jude Joman Ekeji. Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning, brother. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Good morning and welcome to Citizens Forum on Sapiencia's channel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. My guest today on Citizens Forum, I had told you about him when I started the program. Honorable Sir John Akans, KSAM. He's the special advisor to Governor Muttwang of Plateau State on inter-party relations, and of course the immediate past PDP publicity secretary, Plateau State. Good morning once again, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right. First is just to tell you that today's edition is dedicated to standing in solidarity with not just the people of Bokos, but the people of Plateau State and the entire middle belt of Nigeria, as we continue to read and hear and witness all of this, very terrible stories. Let's begin with you telling us what really happened.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. Thanks for having me, and good morning, listeners, once again. It is unfortunate with what is happening to us on the plateau, particularly the middle belt, as you rightly say. We have a situation where some group of people are attempting to seize people's land, ancestral land. That's just an attempt. I don't know where these people are getting their strength from. It's an unprovoked attack on the innocent citizens of Plateau State. Now, let me tell you, this is what we have been going through, particularly in Plateau State, Benue, and then part of Kaduna, which is southern Kaduna.
Yeah.
Their target is number one in Plateau. Number one is to take over the land, ancestral land of our people in the rural areas, and they are targeting once it is season, farming season from April. Their attempt is a deliberate attempt, to destabilize the people, to scare the people from going back to farm. And then in that, if they achieve the thinking, in their wildest thinking, by the time they scare the people from going to farm, they will take over the land. And I can tell you that government, since Governor Musa came on board, he has been doing everything possibly. Number one, what he has achieved is by relocating people back to their various ancestral homes. And the areas that were affected, people have gone back to their ancestral home by providing enough security for them and agrarian, subsidized agrarian equipment so that they will go to farm. And that is what the Fulanis are scared of. Because the people, majority farmers are going back to reclaim their farmland that was attempted to occupy by the Fulanis. And this administration has done everything possible, and he has tried his best. Those people are going back. And like last year, there was a significant improvement in farming those lands that was once occupied by the Fulanis heads. And it's interesting to know that the Fulanis that are helping them to kill are machineries being imported to the state to perpetrate these acts. And of recent, in collaboration, of course, in collaboration with those that are staying in those areas. That is what we have discovered so far. But as it is now, it's going to be difficult with this administration. It's going to be difficult for anyone to attempt of seizing or taking over somebody's acquired or to acquire somebody's land illegally or forcefully. Muttwang has put all machineries on ground to protect the people's ancestral land. And that is what we are collectively supporting the governor to achieve that.
It's quite interesting that you've mentioned security and you keep mentioning the governor without any mention of the president. You know, when President Muhammadu Buhari when he was president, every conversation told us, and I want to say this as somebody in the Southeast, every conversation told us that it was because the president, commander-in-chief, was Fulani, and so this emboldened his local, his kinsmen, as it were. Of course, in Nigeria, we would like to end it with saying allegedly. But then here we are, we have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You've talked about all of the efforts of the governor, but then it will seem as though the effort of the governor was defeated with this attack. What do you say about, Mr. President, what do you say about the failure of the Nigerian state to stop these killings? Because I can't imagine what it will be like to live in a community and not be very sure if it's tonight or tomorrow night, my killers are going to come and we are going to go down in numbers like we had in Bokos.
Yes, thank you. I can tell you, I can vividly tell you because, there is a saying that says, he who wears the shoes nowhere it reaches him.
Yeah.
I can tell you that in Plateau State, we have significantly felt the impact of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu against the former President Muhammadu Buhari. We have felt the impact, we have seen the improvement of the situation. Because some arrests were made. Even against what was happening, the people that were coming, what we hear from them is they will turn them on non-gunmen. But in this situation, recently, some people, those that perpetrated the act, some of them were arrested, suspects were arrested. And it is glaring that if prosecuted, they will have no defense. Because it is evident they were seen and the people know where they are. Like I said earlier, it's a collaboration they are coming. Those people that will come from outside, they will invite those outside to come and perpetrate the acts. And I can tell you that it's unfortunate that we are in the country where we are today. When you talk about the Nigerian states, yes, Nigeria as a sovereign, what are we doing? Our country has allowed terrorists to override innocent citizens, to kill and maim innocent citizens at will, when we have Air Force, and it will be interesting to know that the question I keep asking is that we have the land army. The land army are doing their best on the land pursuing the terrorists, and if the terrorists enter the forest or on the mountains, who are those supposed to bomb them from the mountains? Is to fish them out, to smoke them out from the mountains. Is the Nigerian Air Force? What is the Nigerian Air Force doing? That is the question. There should be a synergy. There should be a synergy between the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian Air Force. Why the Army cannot, when the Army reaches boundary that they could not be able to reach, then the Nigerian Air Force can be able to smoke them off from where they are, from the English, the mountains they are from, by using the air. But that has never been happening. The terrain of Plateau is mountain is incline. So you have a lot of mountains, and by the time these criminals came and perpetrated the act, they run back to the mountains. And this kind of guerrilla fight. The Nigerian Army have tried their best on the land. I can tell you this. They are doing they're still doing their best. But when they reach a point that they can no longer go, because the and of course the personnel are also at risk. They used to ambush them and then kill them and then take over their guns. So they also have to be careful. And that is why I call for synergy between the army and the Air Force. Now we have Mr. President, who has been trying, like I said, there's a significant change of approach to issues, to security of issues. Unlike when it were during Buhari, we have seen it. Plateau people have felt it. The middle belt particularly are feeling it. You could see, even though there are changes, but it has drastically reduced the way as it were before. And for this one in particular, there is a motive behind it. And I think the motive behind it, number one, is to ridicule the governor performance. Number two is also to ridicule the president's fight against terrorism. That is what we have seen. Otherwise, what would have caused the problem? That when people are mourning in their homes, somebody died, women were mourning in their home, in the house, and these useless Fulani terrorists would go and kill them and slaughter them in the room, about 11 women, without going to do anything for them, without even provoking them. People were mourning the loss. And people would just come in the evening and enter there and slaughter them. What can be provoking more than that? And even after that, aside that, the people did not, our people did not revolve to say, we want to retaliate. Then after that, 2 days later, they went and started shooting people, passing by, people in their farms, people walking in the market, they'll be killing them randomly like that. So there is more to it, but our appeal still remains to the president. The Nigerians should wake up. The president, Nigerians should wake up. And then at least I think if the government that is not determined to support and protect the people, it will reach the point that people will have no option than to defend themselves.
I'm really wondering when it will get to that point. I'm really wondering, I mean, a fine gentleman by every definition of that word, like T.Y. Danjuma, General T.Y. Danjuma, thought long ago that we had reached that point. I'm still waiting for, but you know, in my own book, I still find it difficult to reconcile certain things. And the first one is, this is a recurring decimal. I mean, if you make me president of Nigeria today and you say security, insecurity, the first place my mind is going to go to is the Middle Belt and Northern Nigeria. And I'm going to, I mean, we all read the papers. We all know, you don't even need to. I've been to Plateau State in my life. I've stayed in Jos for a while in my life. Grew up in Northern Kaduna, Southern Kaduna, sorry. And so, you know, Jos was always our backyard. If you know, of course, you know what I mean. Jos was always our backyard. Sometimes we run to J-Town, come back home, even before our parents come back home. Because that's the love between Southern Kaduna and Jos, right? But then, to know that a thing like this happens, and somebody has access to the DSS. So where is the information gathering? The SSS, where is the information gathering that we always used to know was top-notch in Nigeria, even during the military years when this was set up? That's one question. The second one is, if we also say that this clearly is a work for the Air Force, then it also begs the question, what is the commander-in-chief waiting for to give this order? I mean, he has the powers and he has used that powers to appoint the service chiefs. There's a chief of naval staff. There's a chief of, Air Force. Like just like we have the chief of army staff. You know, it really beats my mind how in 2025 this is still going on. Now, for this very attack, this last attack in Bokos, everybody has been talking about. Were there arrests? If there were arrests, have we had them make statements? Are there investigations going on? Is anybody going down? Then beside these field soldiers, when I talk about field soldiers, I'm really talking about these terrorists. I don't like calling them bandits because terrorists are what they are.
No, they are terrorists. They are not bandits.
How about their sponsors?
That is what that is the question Nigerian security, Nigerian government should answer. Are you telling me that as a country, we don't have that surveillance that can dictate who are the sponsors of terrorism in this country? Don't forget that there was a news on the social media. It was so rampant in the social media that a congressman in the United States of America said USA were sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. Did the government take time to follow that to its logical conclusion? These are some of the questions. Did our security ever come out with the concrete position that these are the sponsors of Boko Haram or these are the sponsors of terrorism in this country? This is a problem. And you see, the problem of Nigeria is there is no political will from the part of our leaders to call a spade a spade. There is no political will from our leaders to call a spade a spade. And at the detriment of the lives of innocent Nigerians. When a country, if you are so in there as a president, as a governor, as a chairman of the local government, it is your responsibility to protect life and property of your citizens. Are we practicalizing that as a country? Are we improving on that as a country? When are we going to stop politicizing the lives of Nigerians? When are we going to stop playing politics with the citizens of this country? Drones are being shared, but our leaders don't care. I don't know what that is. I don't know. These are people that they're supposed to protect. But innocently, people will just be sitting in their home, in their fatherland, in their country. They're supposed to protect them. They will just be killed. Innocently. Where will their blood go to? Who is going to be held responsible for the murder of those innocent Nigerians? So, you have to, every day we keep on asking questions. Do we have a country that tomorrow our children can call their own country? They will own their own fatherland. With one tribe trying to claim that they own the country? With one region trying to claim that they own the country more than any other person? That is not the essence of politics. The essence of politics as introduced to us by the civilized countries, by America, is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. The people will decide. And I think that is why we're getting it wrong. That is why we're getting it wrong. So when they say government of the people, and then of course, by the vote of the majority will take you there. So somebody will just be playing with the lives of Nigerians. Somebody will come and kill somebody, and somebody will be afraid to say, no, I don't want to talk to these people because they have block of votes. What the hell? Are those lives not more precious than your political ambition? And that is why today I will never forget Goodluck Jonathan. Today, even the far northern Nigerians today, the masses are crying and calling for Goodluck Jonathan, apologizing to Goodluck Jonathan. Because he said one thing, that his ambition is not worth a blood of a Nigerian. I think that is the quality of leaders. That is the mindset our leaders should have. That should be the mindset of our leaders. So we are in a very difficult situation. Today, I can tell you that today we are almost 20-something years practicing democracy, but we have not gone anywhere. We are still being faced with nepotism, tribalism, left, right, and center, corruption, left, right, and center. How long shall we continue in this? We will rise and say, no, let's put a stop to that. Can we be able to have leaders like of old, people like Zeke, people like Akintola, people like Awolowo, people like Sarona, who said, no, let's come together. Bring the support from your people. Bring the support from your region. Let's meet and harmonize ourselves as move as one Nigeria. Can we be able to have people with the mindset like General Gowon who vote the party say Nigeria must be one? Is this the dream of General Gawang when he was fighting for one Nigeria? That's the question. Is it a dream that our forefathers fought for Nigeria to be one? Are we today, in the process of it, are we one? We have tried our best. Let me tell you, like in Plateau, you see, there is something that you will do innocently, but somebody is there to see how he's going to frustrate your effort. For instance, let me give you an example with the leadership of His Excellency in Plateau State. Today, I was the Professor Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. Today, I'm advisor to the governor on interparty relations to create a good relationship between political parties that exist on the plateau, registered political parties. It is time for governance. Let us try to bring our heads together to stabilize the state. We need political stability for the period of administration, for the period of governance. Once the time comes for election, for politicking, every political party will go back to his campaigning, showcasing its potential, showcasing its manifesto to the people, and the people will decide. That is democracy. But we have tried to see that. Let's give everybody a sense of belonging for us to come together. Because what we have discovered is that those monsters coming to kill us, they are trying to use divide and rule tendencies against our people, against us, so that we feel as if they are killing this, if they are killing a particular village, the one particular village will feel as if, no, it is not my fight. It is, we have gone beyond that. Then we have realized that it is not only Plateau fight, but it is the entire fight of the Middle Belt. It is the entire fight, not only the Middle Belt, but Nigeria, even the Southeast and South South. They have gone as far as that. So we must have to collectively come together. We must have to collectively come together. For instance, if the terrorists are coming, they come by road, they pass through a village, somebody might see them. Somebody definitely will see them. And if somebody see people, you see unidentified people moving, the person will be able to raise an alarm. He will not say, no, they are not coming to me. Raise an alarm and alarm the other village. Yep. If they are coming through a particular state, the other people from the other state, if they notice unidentified people, strange people, they raise an alarm. They should raise an alarm and call the other states and say, look, these people are coming through this one, be on alert. But what we have been facing is silent conspiracy of silence. People will come through my village and I will look at them and wave my head and say, no, since they are not coming to me, they are going to those people. And who told you if they finish killing those people, they will not come back to you? So we must have to come together. We must have to come together and call a spade and put a stop to this. Our unity is key, and our unity is the only thing, is the only weapon that will save us and defend to see the terrorists who are coming to kill us. So all hands must be on them. But we are trying on the plateau to see that we implement that. We have changed the narrative. His Excellency are trying to change the narrative by trying to bring all plateau together, to reason together, so that we'll be able to face a common enemy. But unfortunately, this incident that happened, it happens in my local government, and it is my direct village.
I know.
It is my direct village.
Because I recall the first time we had a conversation, you told me you were from Bokos. I remember that.
Yes. Very pathetic. Let me tell you, I could not go there because my people it will be difficult for me to go and see and then to turn it. I just shedding tears and then I shedding tears without an option of doing anything. What would I do to protect my people? When our government is there, when the military might is there. And the question I keep on asking, the question we should keep on asking is that, is it that the weapons the terrorists are using Is it more than the military? Is it that our military don't have any weapon apart of AK-47? That's the question. Is it that our military are not beyond AK-47? Because at some point, if you see those terrorists coming, you hear the kind of gun, the sound of gun they are using, you will think as if it's an army of a different country coming to invade you in your own country. But it's unfortunate. But we'll continue to pray that under President Tinubu, he will continue to do his best to make sure that this thing is nipped down. But I can tell you that with the new approach being adopted by the Chief of Army Staff to defense, in fact, the former Chief of Army Staff started. We know we have never had it this way. We have never had it clear when we will be attacked this way. The military, the Chief of Army Staff will come, and then the Chief of Defense Staff will come. No, I've never had it, but at this time around, once something happens like this, they will send more machineries, and then they will even come themselves to come and, in solidarity, to come and boost the morale of the military personnel on ground. And then the military Chief of Army Staff was here, the General Police was here. I think the security advisors and the president again was also here. I think to boost the morale of the security, so that all those working within the field will be able to do their work without fear, no favor. But I can tell you, our question is that the problem is that there are those that were arrested for perpetrating these acts. Where are they? We have not been told that they have been sentenced either by death or by life imprisonment. This is the question. This is the question. So if somebody committed the crime and that person is not allowed to face the law, will the crime stop? Definitely it will not stop. The person will come back to the scene again and perpetrate that act again. This has been our problem, my brother, with the judge.
All right. Thank you so much. Once again, we stand in solidarity with you. I'll keep in touch with you, and we watch how all of this develops. Just know you have brothers and sisters out here who feel for you as though this happened in our community. Because like we said when we started out the program, injury to one is injury to all. And we must learn to unite and fight those who fight against us as a country.
Thank you so much, my brother.
All right. God bless you.
God bless you too.
All right. And that has been Honorable Sir John Akans. He's the special advisor to Governor Muttwang of Plateau State on inter-party relations. And of course, he was the immediate past PDP publicity secretary in Plateau State. You heard it all from the horse's mouth. I have nothing more to add. Nothing more to say, but he has been asking questions, same questions we've been asking all along. How does this happen in a country where there is a commander-in-chief, where we have a standing military? How does this go on? How does this go on in a country where we have the whole spy apparatus? Has the DSS been reduced to an agency we only hear about when they want to go arrest a Mesoma who was caught with, allegedly exam malpractice? Is the only time we're going to hear about the DSS is when they try to deny lawmakers access to the National Assembly or the State House of Assembly. Has the DSS been reduced to that? Has the DSS been reduced to an agency we only hear about when a big man wants to intimidate some people, want to stop a lawmaker in Anambra State from gaining access to the... Has the DSS been reduced to that? How can we have Nigerians lose their life daily in a place and it's been silent? One call for today. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, welcome to the program.
Very, very happy.
All right.
What happened? Mr. Ezekiel reaching from Onitsha.
All right, you're welcome, Mr. Ezekiel. You have just 2 minutes.
Yes, I want to thank you, our guest, all the way from Plateau State.
Yeah.
He's a man. After told you once I live in Jos. Thank you, you live in Jos. Can this kind of thing happen in Jos, metropolitan capital? It's not possible. Sure you get. By the way, this Bokos, is it towards Madabagot or towards Bauchi?
I can't recall the geography exactly.
Now, you discover that the aspect of Jos, the Plateau, that has to do with the Cardinal South has no issue. Am I right? Most issues are coming from the Bauchi aspect of the Plateau, which is towards Mangodo's environment. The question is, where is our Papa? Yakubu Gowon. Are you getting it? You know, the North Central Plateau, especially, and Benue, has a very wonderful army personnel in those years. I don't know where they are these days. And they had what the man lamented, even the commander lamented about it, that these people, somebody is preparing the attack. I lived in Jos, I schooled in Jos, my early days, are you getting it? The reason why Nasarawa was created was because of these disturbances. That's why they gave them Nasarawa State.
That is true.
Taken out. I hope you get me.
That is true.
When in my days in Plateau State, you did not see a poster, Alahaji, so person. They won't vote for you. But Nasarawa State, given to them, they are not satisfied. They want to conquer the entire Plateau. It's not going anywhere. Early this year in Barikin Ladi, such short I went, came up. I hope you are aware of it. And the problem is, why is our security men complicit in this kind of act? Are you getting it? You have the Joint Task Force in Plateau State. When they finish their business, they come up and tell the community don't retaliate. Just like the man has said, for how long will they wait? How long shall we wait when we are slaughtered like chickens without any helping hand? In Plateau, I think every aspect of...
All right, my producers have just told me our time is up. All right. And this is my sincere apologies. You know, my guest, when we started out the program, we were supposed to have that conversation, but his line was switched off. I was told why that happened. But then it was when we went on that first break that I could connect with him, and then we talked. And so we took all the time. But then, like I said, today we stand in solidarity with them. We'll have next week to have other pressing discussions. Citizens Forum will definitely be here, same time, same station next week. My name is Jude Joma Nekeji. Have a blessed day ahead.